Ha, okay. Sorry about that, you guys. I did bump a button. I think I'm back. Anybody still here? Hello? Ah, there you are, Kim. Can you guys hear me? Why don't you go downstairs with them?
They won't go downstairs as soon as you're up here. It gotta be either by email.
Ah, hi. I think I lost a couple of you. I'm sorry about that. I bumped a button. Oh, good. You can hear me. Awesome. I'm convincing my hubby to take the dogs downstairs. Hopefully they won't bark. Ah, there's Sabrina. Sorry about that, Sabrina. I'm not going to touch my phone now. I'm super excited to color with everybody today. I don't know how many people have colored on Kraft with Copics. I know a lot of people do it with pencils. Hello, Carol. Hello again. Sorry if I lost you. I apologize. These things are such a huge stress for me. I love doing them once they get started, but the technology part just kicks my behind. Well, I know that more will be jumping on, so I'll kind of get started. We're going to color up today. I chose to color this adorable little set called Made with Love, and we're going to color Lucas. He is, I just love him. He's my favorite because I have a huge love of cookies. I like really anything sweet if I have to tell the truth, but mostly cookies are my very favorite thing in the whole wide world. So if you ever want to know the way to my heart, then just remember cookies. That's the way to do it. So I'll show you a couple of things, and I'm going to apologize because there's a huge gap in the video and what I see on my computer. So if I miss comments from you, I apologize. Hopefully I'll catch up with you as we go along. You recently got addicted to pretzels. Would they be Dots pretzels by any chance? Those are not exactly sweet, but those are another one of my addictions. So I'll show you a couple of things that I colored up. So this is the one that we're going to color today. And you can see that I kept it mostly, what do I want to say? Like a sepia toned, maybe is what you might consider that. And for those of you who aren't super comfortable with that, I also did a second one just to kind of show you that you could then go over the top of it with like a white color pencil to make it look a little bit more white instead of that tone. But as you can see, it kind of brings in the white look, if you will, by adding the shading around the inside of the lines. So I stamped this in the Kraftin Kimmie Marvelous Mocha so that the lines weren't too terribly harsh. And then this one I stamped in the gray, the granite gray, and just to see if it would give it a little bit different effect. It's my fault, Kimmie. Okay, so I am going to get going. I know we've got a couple of us here. Hopefully some more will jump in and join us, and we'll get going here. So the first thing I want to tell you is if you don't have the E04, E11, E21, 00 markers, you can use also the E50 series. They work pretty well for skin tones also. Hi, Kylie. They are a little lighter, so what I did on this guy is I had started with the E51 and I felt like it was a little too pale on the kraft, so I added a double layer of it, which darkened it up a little bit, but either of those work just fine. All right, so first we're going to start with the skin tones. And I want to warn you that when you color on kraft, it's going to seem really dark at first. So don't panic. What happens is the kraft is so much more porous than your typical white paper that it immediately grabs the fluid, if you will, soaks it into the paper and makes it look almost just wet instead of anything else. And then as the paper dries, it kind of pulls up and you can see the color in what you're trying to do. Let's see, that looks like it's a tiny bit out of focus, but I'm a little afraid to adjust it for fear I'll lose you guys again. Is that okay? Do you guys feel comfortable with what you can see on the video? Okay, so I'll just kind of keep popping and see, popping over to look and see if there's any comments. I'm using EO4. I'm starting with EO4. Thanks, Kylie. I'm starting with EO4, and I usually forget to take both caps off my EO4, and every once in a while when I do that, it'll blob. I don't know if any of you have had, thank you, Carol, if any of you have had issues with that, but I don't want that to happen to me while we're doing this video, so I've taken both caps off and I'm going to get started. So I'm just going to follow along. The other thing about coloring on kraft, and this kraft paper that I'm using is by Stampin' Up. Sometimes people want to know what they've got. So because it is more porous, you don't want to go right on the line, but very close to it. And we're just going to start with a lighter brush on there. Don't worry about it being too exact. Can you see it kind of spreading out? I got a little too close on his line, but that's okay. We'll be fine. And a little bit on his neck. The hands are really tiny, so I'm going to be really careful through there. Hope not to get too much color in there. Just trying to be kind of exact. Kind of exact, that's a funny way to put it, isn't it? All right, and so you can see that it's already kind of grabbed some of that color. The other thing about kraft is it's not quite as forgiving, maybe, I guess is the way to say it, for blending. Yeah, it does look really dark. Wait till you see the next layer. So E11 is our next layer, and we're going to go through and we're going to add a little bit more of that. And the other thing that we'll do at the end, because what happens is I stamped it in the lighter colored ink, so we kind of lose a little bit of the detail in the eyes and mouth, but I go back over it when I'm completely done with either a colored pencil or with a multi-liner, the Copic black multi-liner, to give it a little more color. Okay, so you can see how dark that looks. And if you're coloring along with me, don't freak out. Remember, I told you it's going to be really dark. You're going to look like you've really messed it up, but it's going to blend, I promise. Don't panic, no panic, no panic. Remember that this is what it's going to end up looking like. Oops, wrong one. This guy. There we go. All right, next layer, E21. And again, we're just layering over the top of it. And we are kind of going back over where the rest of it was, kind of avoiding his little tongue. Look how dark that is. I know, it's so weird, isn't it? But it's okay, I promise. I like to use Copics on craft more than I do colored pencils because, well, mostly just because I'm not comfortable very much yet with colored pencils. I tend to just have such a heavy hand, and I really do love how Copics change, I guess, if you will, on craft, how they end up looking. So, okay, so here you go. See how dark he looks? It is a little freaky, I know. I'm just kind of filling in everything. I'm just going all over everything with this. And it looks terrible, I know. I know it looks absolutely awful, but it's not going to be, I promise. Yeah, markers are so much faster. That's so true. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the R20 for his little cheeks. And I had kind of tried to leave his tongue there, so I'm going to give his little tongue a dot or two. And then I'm going to go back over the cheeks again a little bit. We don't want him to be too... So here's the other funny thing about coloring with Copics on craft, is that when you use a lighter color, it actually kind of almost takes the color out of the paper. So I think I better leave that alone, just wait for it to dry a little bit and see how we do. And then the other thing is you can kind of just keep layering. Remember, again, it's porous, so it's just going to keep sucking up the color. And not that I want to point out my mistakes, but just to kind of show you what I was talking about. When you get too close to the line, see how it kind of bleeds a little under there? But it's not bad, and the fact that I've used a lighter ink to stamp in than black, it doesn't stand out as much. You don't notice it as much. So while his face is drying, and you can see it, I mean, you can kind of watch as we go along that it's getting a little lighter. Well, I'm glad I picked a subject that many of you haven't really done. It's kind of fun to step outside your comfort zone a little bit every once in a while and try something new, like making these coloring videos. I do love doing them once I get on. Okay, oops, and then let's see, what did I do there? Nope, we're good. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do his hair. And for his hair, I used the E44 and 43 and 41, I think. And then we can also touch up the edges with 47 if we want to. So I'm going to start with my E44. And we're just going to brush in some little highlights. Give him some little feathery color, dark colors there. And I gotta turn him a little bit. This is my comfort zone for coloring hair. And you can see that you can see it just continually kind of sucking up in the color. And I'll probably go over it again with a 47, E47 at the end. So that's 44. And then we'll add a little 43, kind of fill in some of the spaces. And the thing about craft too is I guess feel the need to leave white space as much because of how the ink kind of dries on the craft. So it kind of, stays lighter anyway if you're using a lighter color. So that looks just kind of like a blob. Hi Margaret. And Pat, oh, I'm so glad you're here, Pat. Let's see, so now I'm going to take the E47, or no, which one do I have here? I have 44. I want 47. And I'm going to go back in, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of the darker. I love his hair. He's fun to color. And let's see here. We're going to give him a little bit more. I'm going to turn him for a sec. If in my turning of this I lose, I don't get him back in the right place, let me know. I apologize if I don't see the comment right away. I'm checking every so often, but like I said, there's just a tremendous lag in between what I see and what I'm saying, so hopefully we're doing okay. Try not to do it too fast so I don't make y'all car sick. What did you finish? Oh, laundry, maybe, Sabrina? I've been doing it too. Mine has this really fun little, I don't know, sing-songy bell that goes off, and then I get it stuck in my head the whole day. Okay, so there's hair, and what we'll probably do is go back a little bit later, maybe, and add more if we need to. Can you see, I don't know if you're coloring along or not, but can you see on mine how his skin is already, you're seeing the lighter colors coming through? It's not as dark as it was at first, and if you're coloring along, you're probably breathing a huge sigh of relief that your dark soaked face is no longer that, and it actually has some color to it. So, oops, oh my goodness, I forgot his neck. I better finish his neck. Let's see, so we gotta get his neck done. I got his hands in there. We'll do his neck real quick. 21 and 11 and 0. Can't do that, we gotta have his neck in there. So again, see, oh, maybe it's a good thing I forgot to do that, because you can see it how dark his neck now looks that I've done it just fresh compared to what his face is starting to lighten up to. Thanks, Sabrina. Hi, Sheila. So I don't know what you guys have for weather out there, but I have snow again and really blowing cold wind, which is quite the bummer. Hi, Patty. Okay, so next let's go ahead and do his outfit. And what I did with that is I used E41 and E40. And basically what I'm doing is I am creating, what's the term? A shadow, I guess, so that by doing that, it's creating almost a white look in his outfit. Blistery, snowy, and cold here in Saskatchewan. Ugh, I'm so sorry. I feel for you. I'm tired of that. So tired of that. Okay, so let's get going on this. So starting again with an E41, and again, it looks really dark at first when you're laying it down because it's soaking in that color. But we want it to have a shading, if you will. And the lighter the marker, the quicker it fades out, I guess is a way to put it. And then we're going to just go in and get all of the deeper parts of the hat. Trying not to get my hand in your way, I'm sorry. I will turn it here. Maybe that will help. Okay, there's layer 1. Summery weather the past week and rainy and spring temps for you now. Oh, that sounds better than snow, Sabrina. We did have a couple nicer days last week. That's what makes the snow so hard, I think. All right, then I'm going to do the same on his uniform. I was going to call it an outfit, but it's not really an outfit, is it? These little tiny parts are challenging to get. There's a little space right in there. So, and again, what we're doing is we're just kind of creating a shadow, if you will, or so that it can let some of the lighter parts of the paper come through. Continuing on, I'm just coating down the first layer of everything. Oops, got a little deep on that one, but that's okay. I love this image. I just think he's so adorable. Okay, and then I'm going to go around the buttons just a little bit. Again, maybe to add a little depth. How's it looking for you guys? Thanks, Kylie. Yeah, it's touchy. Like I said, if I were to add in a little bit more of the pink on there, it might fade the color out too much, so it works pretty okay. Who said the S word? Well, sorry, that was me. I started that conversation. Okay, so that was the first layer of, and that was E41 again. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to take E40, which is just a tiny bit lighter. Can I move it up just slightly? Yeah. Let me know if that's better. Hopefully it will catch up with the video here pretty quick and I can see. So now I'm going to go in with E40 and I'm just going to give it one more little bit of shading. Look how, I mean, it's just like, it kind of is just freaky at first. You add that and you think, ah, I completely overdid it. But it's just gonna just give it a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, thanks, Kim. Patty, this is Kraft from Stampin' Up. I have a huge stock of this stuff. And then again, I'm just going over here again in the parts just a little bit more, just creating a little bit more of that definition so that it makes it seem a bit more white. Oops, went too far. That's okay. We're going to let it be. Don't forget around the cookie and the buttons. Oh, I forgot one. There we go. I didn't have time to get a complete card done this time because my husband and I were out couch shopping yesterday. Our niece is moving into an apartment for the first time and I'm letting her have my older couch, which gives me the opportunity to buy something new, which is kind of fun and exciting. However, I did not realize how much furniture has increased in price in the last, well, I'm gonna have to be honest and say it's been about 12 years since I've had a new couch down there, so so I guess I should expect that, right? Okay, so that's his uniform, if you will. And again, here is what I did. I added the white pencil to that one. Here's my original one. And as it dries, that it's not going to look that dark. It's just going to kind of keep sinking in a little bit. Adulting, yeah. It's exciting. We're going to get one of those reclining couches down, you know, where it has like the love seat where each side reclines and you have your little drink holder in the middle. So it's like the perfect, like, never leave the couch if you're going to watch movies kind of couch, I think is what we're going to get. But anyway, that kind of took up a chunk of my day. So next, let's do the cookies. And what I did for those is I have a combo of E37, E35, and E31. So I'll start with the 35. And let's see, we're just going to go in. And so the cookies, I found what I did with them after I was all done was I did go back with a really sharp colored pencil and just kind of color around the edges of the cookies again, just to give them a little bit more definition. And we'll do that at the end. Let's see, I feel like, oh, yep, there's one tucked in his arm there. And I'm mostly filling it in all the way. But I'm going to add a second layer to it. It is kind of exciting. A binge watching couch. Yeah, absolutely. It's hard because I'm this little tiny short person. I'm 5 foot, well, I'm going to say I'm 5'1". I'm almost 5'1". And it's really hard to find couches to sit in because I sit in and my little legs can't quite, they don't quite make it to the floor. So it's so awesome to find something that will recline that I can sit in. I was super excited. We found a couple actually that worked well for me yesterday, which is very surprising. Okay, so now I'm coming in with the E31 and I'm just kind of soaking the paper up a little bit with that because I'm going to add another layer of the E35. Oops, we have a cookie down here in the little guy's mouth, don't we? Let's get that one while we're thinking about it. You have to have your legs crossed at all times. Yeah. Oh, short girl issues, right, Patty? Okay, so let's see here. We're gonna get this cookie done. Oh my goodness, so cute. So cute. All right, and then we're gonna go back one more time. I keep opening the wrong end of the marker. Gonna go back one more time with the E35 and just kind of, again, go in there with it. I forget the one in his arm. This big one down here with the bite out of it is the one that I had. Okay, let's see here. And then we're going to go in and we're going to put the chocolate chips in. Hi, Angela. Let's see, and I need to look at my stamp because I don't see the dots quite as well yet. They haven't dried very well. And it doesn't really matter, I guess. I mean, you could give him more chocolate chips than they had to begin with. And these you'll want to do twice as well. And remember, we're going to go through at the end, and we're going to edge the cookies a little bit, give them a little bit better definition with our colored pencils. You always want to wait, you guys probably all know this, but just in case I have a newbie watching, when you're coloring with both Copics and pencils, you want to make sure that you don't go over your pencil with your Copic, because you'll ruin the ends of your Copic. There would be nothing left if you had one. All right, so we're going to let that dry a little bit, and then we're going to work on the puppy dog. Let's go ahead and work on the puppy dog. I love this cute little dog. So I chose YR23, YR24, Y21. I know, isn't it fun, Sabrina? I think that's kind of why I like coloring on craft too. It's kind of like magic. Like you see one effect to start with, and then the next thing you know, it looks a little different. So it's kind of fun. So let's go ahead and start with the puppy dog. And I did grab YR27 because we might want to put just a little bit darker edging on him. That's what he's going to look like when we're done. Oh, whoops, wait, let's go back a sec. I'm going to do the buttons on his jacket. And I can't remember if I did an N2 or an N4. So I'm going to start with an N2. And I'm just going to go in real quick and just kind of quickly swirl around the buttons. And then I'm going to wait and see how dark they dry before I decide to add any more. Whoops, and I keep forgetting this little one hiding right there behind the cookie. I think actually I'm gonna leave that maybe. I might put a little N6 around there. All right, so the puppy dog. Let's start with Mr. Puppy Dog. So YR24, and again, you're gonna kind of be surprised by him. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. Let me know if it's not in the frame enough, because again, it's gonna look really dark and really weird at first as you're coloring in the pup. And again, getting close to your edges, but not completely along the line. Little tiny tail. He's so teeny. Oh, I listed N6, N4, and N6. Okay, so N4, I do have that, and that works good. I'll just go ahead and put that inside of there a little bit, just so you can kind of see how that looks. The N4 and 6 are mostly for his shoes. There we go. That does look nicer. The ends, I just started using the T's, Sabrina, because I didn't have the T's forever, and people kept always talking about how awesome the T markers are, and I do love them. I think they're just a little softer, and I didn't try them on craft, but I did use the W's on this guy, on his shoes. So if you have the W's, I know how they look, and they're a little more of the gray, so you could use like the W4, W5 on the shoes and on the buttons, or you can try your T's. I think they'd probably look pretty darn close. Okay, so next, so we did the YR24. Now we're going to do the YR23 as the second layer on our pup, and we're not going to go all the way in deep, but you do have to go a little bit in, because remember, craft doesn't blend quite as well because of the porousness of it. And I'm just kind of dotting because he's so tiny. It's hard to smooth it out too much. Go around his nose a little bit. He's so cute. You're freaking out as I'm coloring the pup. I know, this looks so weird, doesn't it? But he lightens up, I promise. Okay, and then I'm grabbing my YR27 because I did decide that I want to do a little bit darker around the edges, but and I don't know if I listed YR27 or not, to be honest. So if you don't have that one, that's okay. Just let him dry a little bit more. And then when he's dry, then go back in with the YR24 again. And because it's dried, it'll just pick up another layer of the depth and color and help out there too. But I'm just going to go in real light with this YR27. And that looks dark again, but you can see it's already lightening up a little bit. Oops, I went over. Turn it. And his little face, we're going to go in and fill in with the mark or the pencils, I guess. Oh, 6 times. Oh my goodness, Sabrina. I've tried really hard. Oh, thanks, Kim. I did list YR27. I have tried so hard to keep Jessie Banks, Crafty Girl, Jessie Banks comments in mind, although it is so hard for me when I am not liking what I'm doing to tell myself that it's just paper and it's okay to start over, but I really have a hard time with that, like super hard time with that. Alrighty, so there's the pup, and we're going to color in his sweet little nose, and you can use just really any color you want. I'm going to go ahead and grab the the N6, and it's so teeny tiny. Just got to just almost barely touch it. Don't put too much pressure on there because again, the paper is going to grab it and it's going to just soak it right in. So there's him. And now we can do the shoes, and the shoes are N4 and N6. And I did grab N7 for the sole, just in case. I think we'll probably want to make the sole a little darker. So I'm going to start with the sole of his shoe. And this is N7, but if you have N6, go with that. And then if you don't, that's fine. We may end up just going over it with like a black colored pencil anyway, just to give it a little more definition. All right, and then I'm going to take my N4 and I'm going to do a color wash, really kind of over the whole shoe. Okay, how's it going? Is it looking okay? Is it working good? Love the color of the puppy. Oranges are great on craft. I agree. One of my favorite combos. This little guy here, I did a little bit more of the YR27, and I like the depth of that. Okay, so that was N6, or sorry, 4. And now we're going to do N6. And we're just going to kind of go around the outer edge of it, under the pant leg. And do the laces. I got to turn him, sorry, I can't. Can't color him straight on. Oops, darn it. Oh well, I'll wash over it again. All right, so we're gonna give that a chance to dry a little bit, and then we're gonna need to probably add some pencils to that. Okay, so one of the things I mentioned was that to give the cookies some definition, I'm going to go over them with a colored pencil. And I apologize that I didn't list that on the color guide, I guess is the word. But one of the things I learned from Jessie, again, is that you want a really super sharp pencil. So boy, I sharpened these babies. And I'm just going to come in and I'm ever so lightly going to color around the edges of the cookie. Can't forget about the one down here. And then we can also put in, we can also make the chocolate chips a little bit darker. Again, just coming in with the pencil. It's really fun to combine the pencils and the Copics together. There we go. Looking good, huh? Yeah, it makes quite a difference, doesn't it, Kylie? And then you'll notice the same on his shoes. I'm just letting them dry a little bit more, but you can kind of see how the sole blended in with the base of the shoe. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and take the N4 and blend that out just a bit more. And then what we'll do is we'll give the shoe a little bit more definition with the pencils. So the next thing we could do is we could either use a Copic liner on the face, or we can use the colored pencil, whichever one you're most comfortable with. I'm going to go ahead and use this because it's got such a super fine point for the puppy dog's eyes. And I'm just going to come in and dot his eyes a little bit more, give his little eyebrows a swoosh. There's that. And then I'm going to go ahead for Lucas, I'm going to go ahead and use the colored pencil. And this is just a black. I do have a, let's see here, I do have also a sepia. I'm not sure which one I want to use here. I'll use the black. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to dot his eyes a little bit darker. And his mouth, just a tiny bit, and his nose. We can go around his buttons. And then for his shoes, since I'm here, it's not completely dry, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and trace in the sole a little bit more. And then do his laces just a little bit better. we go. Okay, let's see. Anything else we need to do on there? Oh, and so the last thing is, and again, this is totally your preference if you choose to want to do it or not, and we'll go ahead and do it just to see kind of how it looks. But remember how I said if you felt like this wasn't white enough, you could add a little white to it. And so literally I'm just going to take this and I'm just ever so lightly going to swoosh in. I'm going to try to do it with a much lighter hand than I did on, that's hard for me, I have to be honest, than I did on this guy. So just a little bit of white in there. Just enough to maybe pick up where highlights might be, maybe. Swoosh. It's one of my technical terms, Kimmie. Okay, well there he is. This was the one I did for practice before, and here's the one we've done today. So you can see the tiniest bit of difference with the little bit of extra white added in there. So I hope you liked him. I hope you had fun and learned something new today. I will get him on a card. I'll get this adorable little guy on a card. The other fun thing about coloring on craft paper is it really doesn't matter, I don't think, what you put behind it in terms of a background, because craft goes with everything. It goes with all kinds of patterned papers. It goes with, you know, it's so fun actually. If you haven't tried our Kraftin Kimmie stencils and inks on craft paper, try them. It's so fun. It's fun to watch the colors change, and it's just really cool the effects that you can get behind it. So if you have maybe the heart stencil from Kraftin Kimmie, or the sweater weather, or really any of them, the stars. Yellow, you can see what orange looks like. Yellow isn't super bright on craft, but it would be fun to try the yummy yellow too, and do some stenciling maybe around him. Maybe I'll try that on one of my panels and make a card with it. So anyway, give it a try, you guys. Oh, paw prints. Paw prints would be awesome. And the browns would look really cool, especially since we've already got kind of the, you know, the neutrals and the sepia tones going on. The paw prints would be super cool. Love that idea. Love that idea. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. It was fun. I'm glad I got it figured out. Little help from all of my crafty friends today. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Bye.